For the past couple of days I've been completely glued to my screen, and my ass has been slowly becoming one with my shitty old ass repurposed office chair, all thanks to Warhammer Rogue Trader. And to be completely honest with you, I didn't expect myself to enjoy the game as much as I'm doing right now. Turn-based combat games don't really get my attention very often, as I'm more of a I want to shoot hordes and hordes of enemies and feeling powerful while doing so type of guy. But after playing Baldur's Gate 3 and actually liking it a lot, mostly because of Shadowheart,
we need to figure this out. Oh, what about this one? Oh, okay.
I decided to give this one a try, as I found that hey, turn-based combat games are what chess would be like if it was actually enjoyable in any way. And man, I'm really thankful that I did, because this is, in my not so humble opinion, one of the best video game adaptations of Warhammer to date. So, let's start from the very top. What even is a rogue trader? Well, a rogue trader, to put it in simple words, is an individual that possesses a warrant of trade, which is this gigantic piece of paper that allows the possessor of it to do whatever they want, anywhere they want, to anybody they want, just as long as it benefits the Imperium, which, to put it in other words, means you can do whatever you want as long as you keep paying your taxes. Because as everybody knows, in the grim dark future, there is still only taxes. These people were granted the warrant of trade by the Emperor himself at the beginning of the millennium, to basically allow the Imperium to keep growing and, by the acquisition of one, bypass the necessity of asking for permission to do something before even thinking about doing it. Mostly he did that to get rid of troublesome people, so he could do things on his own. Similar to giving a kid an iPad these days and wondering why they behave so badly afterwards, showing even more the bad parenting skills that the God Emperor has. Except that the Emperor didn't expect them to actually survive and actually fulfill their duties. Now, on the current 40k time, new warrants of trade are kind of unusual because of, you know. And the ones that are being given are to either very important people of the Imperium or to high-rank officers of the Astra Militarum, as giving one warrant of trade to someone is literally giving that person what most of the people in the Imperium don't have: freedom. But sometimes there are exceptions to that rule. You see, the warrant of trade don't simply disappear when the current owner of it dies for reasons. The warrant is a family heirloom, being passed along to the families next in line. That's when you enter into the picture. You are the next in line in the Von Balancius bloodline, with a very long list of rogue traders behind you, and now is your time to take the mantle and become one yourself. Anyways, as I was playing the game for the first time, I noticed that it felt very underwhelming, to be honest, because of a lot of aspects. The clunky animations, the lack of voice acting in some parts, the off-putting 3D models. Why the fuck does Cassia look like that? But after some hours of gameplay, I understood that those were sacrifices willing to be made to, for the most part, allow other parts of the game to grow, like for example the amazing progression tree. Like, there are so many good abilities in comparison to other games, which some abilities are completely useless. The several choices you have to create your own character, where you could choose to be a psyker, an RBTs, or even a noble, which special ability is to make someone your servant. I am not making this up. Or how about the amazing combat the game has, which has so many levels of complexity that I don't think I'm smart enough to explain it. Like, have you ever come across some games that you become extremely powerful and at the end of the day you just kill anything in just one hit? Well, in this game they actually thought about that and gave us a ton of enemies to kill, instead of just 5 or 8 very tanky ones. The levels that have so much detail on them, because everybody knows if you want a good 40k game, you have to nail the details. And of course, one of the best writings I've seen a video game have, and it's actually a really good thing that the writing is insanely good, because you're gonna be reading a lot in this game. And to keep it completely honest with you, I would much prefer this game over Baldur's Gate 3, because of the exact same reasons I mentioned before. For starters, Baldur's Gate 3 is based on 5e, which means Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, which as it turns out fucking sucks in some areas. Don't take it from me, take it from the very real fact that the devs tweaked some abilities of the game because they were plain as bad. Also, maybe this is just a me thing, but I completely hate with all my being how hidden attacks works in that game. Because what do you mean that a Githyanki warrior, a race which only purpose in life is to be good warriors, to be the best of the best in absolutely everything, cannot hit a dumbass 120cm goblin 3 times in a row because you were supposed to roll a 13, but you rolled a fucking 5? 3 times in a row! Get your shit together, Lae'zel! Or how about the fact that they couldn't even make more animations for when you miss an attack? Like, what do you mean it's just... They couldn't even make it block, or parry, or dodge? Something that Owlcat made for Rogue Trader, and man, it looks sick as hell. And man, I like Baldur's Gate 3. I have like 300 hours on it on Steam, but there are some gameplay decisions that don't make sense at all. That and how the story completely plummets after Act 2. Seriously, Act 3 is just so weird. Like, the quality is so mixed on that part of the game, and it's very strange because that's the most important part of the game. Like, that's the name of the game, it's in the title. You finally arrive at the Gate of Baldur, and then one of the first quests you interact with is bug. The performance there sucks, or the ending is just horrible and filled with characters doing dumb shit.
We have no chance of survival. Very well. Since you will not work with me, you work against me. You leave me no option but to join the Netherbrain.
And then there is Rogue Trader, completely doing right the things I found most annoying about Baldur's Gate 3. Characters actually blocking, parrying, and dodging attacks. There is this stat that allows you to reduce the chances of the enemy doing all those 3 things to you. That small addition to the combat is one of the best things the combat has. Or what about the fact that you can bring 6 characters in your party at all times, and the fights still feel good and challenging? There are even times when allies come out of nowhere and actually help you fight too, but in Baldur's Gate 3 you're stuck to 4 and have to use mods to bring more, and you end up missing cool interactions because you decided not to bring one of them with you.
Stop making the damn thing!
One small thing in which one of the 2 games is clearly the winner is that BG3 has the best 3D models, by far. Why does Cassia look so different from her portrait? It's like, first you look at her portrait, and then you look at her in the equipment section, and she looks nothing like the portrait, alongside Argenta, which doesn't even have the same skin color or the same head model. What is the explanation behind that? Because other characters look completely fine. For example, Abelard, that looks exactly how he looks in his portrait, or Kibela, that's just a mandatory I can fix her character, which alright, I admit it works. I admit it, okay? I admit it! But yeah, I don't understand why some characters look like that. Is it really that hard to move some polygons and make them look alright? I mean, I would do it if I know how to mod the game. Which apparently isn't very easy because the Nexus mod page is completely filled with AI bullshit. What is up with that? So either modding for the game is very hard or nobody really wants to do it.
Do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
The story of the game is simply amazing. Even though the game is full of text and has very minimal animations, I was honestly impressed of how many things you do are actually relevant very late into the game, things such as your origin, your moment of glory, or your moment of ruin, or whatever it was called. For example, at the beginning of the game, when you first arrive at the Bomba Launcher's boy ship, the Master of Whispers of the ship greets you, and, at least for me, it mentions who I was and makes observations regarding my past life. And not a lot of games go as far as to change that little line of dialogue, even though it doesn't take a lot of effort, you know? But this one did, and this one could because that's the reason they chose the game to be this way, to be a turn-based RPG, because that way they can show the lore in the freest of ways. As Bricky said, trying to portray a lot of things in 40K have to be cut short because of how massive and complex the setting is, and because of the decisions the devs made. Now they don't have to worry about pre-rendered cutscenes.
Attention, scum! You are in defiance of the Emperor's law. You cannot hide. You cannot escape. We are judgment. Prepare for sentencing.
Hyper-realistic, ultra-detailed graphics, and can actually portray how the life of a rogue trader is, being capable of experiencing everything that the 40K universe has to offer just because of their massive poder acquisitivo. Things like meeting every single faction in the 40K universe, like the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Eldari, or even Space Marines, owning different planets, creating trading routes, and become even richer. Oh, and did I mention that you can do whatever you want? Like if you want a room full of sororitas wearing bikinis and playing volleyball, I'm pretty sure you can have it. I mean, yeah, your whole boyship would judge you for it, but you can just tell Avalar to execute everyone that disagrees with you.
Get in there.
Now, because of how rich you are, you don't actually have a money counter like in other games. Like, it would be ridiculous to make you buy an autogun and see the counter of 5,000 quadrillion Aquilas be reduced by minus 150.
100,000?
Wait, you lost 100k?
So, the way they approach that is by just giving you these levels of being rich that you have to achieve. And that's the way you unlock new things with different merchants after leveling up your reputations with them by trading some guns, armors, fuel, and other shit you find laying around everywhere for some reason. Because of how much thought was put before making the game and have a clear idea of what they could do and could not, they were capable of putting more effort in other things, like the music, the writing, skill trees, and character progression. Which, okay, last time, sucks in BG3. It just feels so unrewarding to level up in that game. Like you're this weakling at the start of the game, and next thing you know, you can wipe entire rooms of enemies with 2 skills. Or even your own party, to be honest.
Those Gith look like a fight and a half. Best keep away from them for now. Those whelps are blocking the bridge. Time to put them in their place.
And I know that's not really a bad thing, but I'm just telling you my personal experience. Like, even if you want me to spec into other classes, you miss other cool abilities because the game is not balanced for that due to the devs reducing the level cap, even though they could have balanced it by making the encounters more challenging with more enemies. And oh wait, they actually did that, and it sucks too! Because you get only 1 attack point by turn, unless you pick a specific class, and all of that to just keep missing your attacks. So you're there against 20 enemies, getting absolutely destroyed while missing all your attacks. But in Rogue Trader you can do so many more things other than drinking a potion, help someone, or keep missing your fucking attacks. You can attack or do different kind of actions, 1, 2, 3 or even more times, thanks to the abilities you have or buffs from your allies. Or you can even be the one giving the buffs to your team. All of that making the game so much more strategic and fun to see it unfold. Because people always claim that Baldur's Gate 3 isn't, a fighting game, it's more of a role-playing game. But man, I am leveling up my character for something. I want to get the opportunities to use my abilities and all the cool powers I acquired. I don't want to get out of every single situation just by talking. At one point you're gonna have to fight. So stop using that dumb as excuse. You want roleplay only? How about you roleplay having a fucking life, you fucking moron, bitch? Also, one thing I didn't know when playing Rogue Trader is that melee attacks cannot miss. Never. So that's another thing added to the large list of quality of life things that Rogue Trader offers. What I'm trying to say is that the different mechanics that Rogue Trader has are simply amazing, and it pisses me off more games don't approach that part of the games in a similar way, because clearly this game knows what it's doing. Another thing that every single Warhammer game doesn't miss on is music. I don't know what it is, but every single game of the franchise has the perfect soundtrack for each of them. And Rogue Trader have the perfect songs for different moments, either being fights, exposition, or just these very tense story moments. Also, later on in Act 2, as if the game wasn't, you know, the perfect simulator of what being a rogue trader is, ship combat is added to the game too. And it's kinda weird, as I didn't understand it at first, the movement more specifically. Mostly because the game didn't do a great job explaining it, because the way it works just makes sense. I mean, that's just how driving something is. I'm calling a fucking boy ship something. I think that was a great addition to the game, and really one that is much necessary. So as I mentioned before, I'm not very familiar with the CRPG genre. By my understanding, they are more hardcore type of RPGs, with a very heavy emphasis on roleplay, akin to what the first Fallouts were, and according to what a lot of people say, this game is indeed one of the best ones out there. Since I've been reading about Owlcat games and the repertoire, it seems their other games have very mixed reviews, but this one seems to be the most balanced overall, and I believe one of the reasons Rogue Trader is the most balanced out of all the games is because GW was working alongside them to make it, which I think it actually means that they were breathing down their necks constantly, because GW is the only one allowed to retcon and destroy their lore on their own. They do not need help from outsiders to do that, as apparently there wasn't gonna be an option to romance the Adeptus Sororitas, Argenta, but it was cut off from the game thanks to GW. One thing I really liked about the game is how the game justifies the ignorance of the player by simply sticking to the reality that is becoming a rogue trader. For example, I choose to be an Arbites, but the thing is, all we know about the 40K universe, like IRL knowledge, we know it because of books, videos, and hell, neither Gabriel or Karen had fought Tyranids before the events of Space Marine 2, and they are Stardies with dozens of years in service.
Have any of you faced Tyranids before?
Only these past 2 days.
Then there is much to learn.
I look forward to it.
So, you being so ignorant about a lot of things makes sense. Like, you are this person that only served as basically what a police officer is for 30 years of your life. There is no way you knew anything more than beating the shit out of heretics and getting to know more about the other worlds and factions via books or listening to tales told by others. And now, thanks to being a rogue trader, you can be as unforgiving in what you ask anyone, because nobody will tell you no. Everyone wants to help you become a better rogue trader because, well, if they don't, they die. They can get executed by you, because that is how much power a rogue trader actually has. So, after about 150 hours of gameplay, I finally finished Rogue Trader, and I gotta say, I got extremely burned out. The game has so much content and so many possibilities with everything. Things like builds or different outcomes depending on the decisions you make, that it can become somewhat overwhelming, to be honest, at least for me. For people that like a lot of replayability on their games though, this is the right game for you. And what's even crazier is that there are 2 more DLCs announced for 2026. Each of them adding 15 hours worth of gameplay, which, to be realistic, they're probably 30 plus hours or something like that. I was gonna mention more things about the game, but after thinking about it, I decided not to do so, as mentioning them briefly are huge spoilers. This is one of those games that you have to experience everything on your own. Also, it seems that GW really liked the outcome of Rogue Trader and decided to work with Owlcat once more to make another game, Dark Heresy, in which this time you are no one, as usual, fighting no others but the Night Lords themselves. There is some information about it, it isn't a lot, but what's been shown so far looks very cool. I truly believe if you like Warhammer, you should give this game a try, even if it's kinda out of your alley, just as much as BG3, because I know it seemed like I was you throwing shit at it.
My trick.
But as I mentioned before, I have 200 hours on it, both great games that I think everybody should experience at least once. If you liked the video, you know what to do, but if you really liked it, please leave a comment. I would love to read your thoughts about the video. And remember,
Be positive.